So let's play this out for Nikki Haley. I want to play for folks a quick clip of her because she came out very clearly and said, this is now a two-person race. Okay, here we go.
I can safely say tonight, Iowa made this Republican primary a two-person race. Tonight, I will be back in the great state of New Hampshire. And the question before Americans is now very clear. Do you want more of the same? Or do you want a new generation of conservative leadership?
All right, Hogan, just take this off for a second. Let's pretend that you are in South Carolina, you're advising Nikki Haley. Is that what you would have told her to say?
Okay. Well, I'm from South Carolina.
I know. That's why I asked.
Nikki was my governor. So let's be clear. I would not have told her to use that line about now it's a two-person race because you came in third. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. And yeah. I saw her getting dragged on Twitter for saying that. But at the same time, here's what I get. What she's trying to say is, hey, look, I've got a poll number in New Hampshire, the next state that is within striking distance of Donald Trump. I really didn't even play in Iowa all that much, and I still almost beat DeSantis. But now we're going to New Hampshire where I'm strong and my home state of South Carolina. She pointed that. Also, though, she's down anywhere from 8 to 20 points in New Hampshire and down 30 points in South Carolina. So pointing to those states didn't really make that much sense. But you see her logic. It's not necessarily strong. It's not a good case to make. But I see why she would say something like that.
So what would you have had her say?
Well, I would just advise her to point out the fact that, hey, we really didn't play much here in Iowa until late because people got to see my message. They got to see me late and understand what I'm about and take it back to the country. You take down your list or whatever. But now we take the fight to another state, New Hampshire. We've got to grow this network and build the tent and do all kinds of euphemisms that Nikki Haley likes to do. But point to the future of how she is the one that is on the right trajectory to try and take down Trump one-on-one, whereas Ron DeSantis, while he spent bajillion dollars in Iowa, he couldn't get it done. Now it's time for me because I'm the only one within striking distance of Donald Trump. Everyone else is down by 10, 20, 30, 40 points. I'm within 10. I'm in single digits in New Hampshire. We have a week to get it done, and I know I can get it done, blah, blah, blah. That's what she should have done.
Yeah. The thing that's, I agree with you because I would have said.
By the way, did you know she's a woman?
I've heard that.
She says that sometimes. Just want to make sure everyone knows.
Wow. I actually agree with you 100% on that because I would have just said, you guys, I didn't even try. And I almost beat a guy who spent tens of millions of dollars. Yeah. By the way, I'm trying in New Hampshire, so get behind me there. I did think it was, I mean, it was, it's fascinating that if the media wasn't so on her side, there's no way that anyone else, because it's like, it's a two-person race, even though I got in third. So which, again, I was impressed by that. I thought she overperformed what she was getting in the polls. She hasn't spent a ton of time there. She's had a couple flubs with respect to Iowa's, the talking points there. But yeah, I think it was sort of cute, but I think she's also trying to get under Ron DeSantis' skin.
Oh, sure.
And really bum him out and also I think that was a signal to donors more than anything else, which is, hey guys, look at what I did without really trying. Imagine if you get behind me going into New Hampshire.
Sure. And look at what Ron DeSantis didn't do. Now, Ron DeSantis says he's going to go to South Carolina. Okay, great. But again, Trump's 1-0. The field is 0-1. If he wins New Hampshire, these are all ifs, because no Republican has ever won Iowa and New Hampshire. That would be historic in its own right if he wins there. If Trump, look, a month from New Hampshire to South Carolina, those calendars better than most. That's a long time. Yeah. These are all ifs. But if he wins South Carolina, you have a de facto nominee by the end of February because he will have been 4-0 if you throw in Nevada, and the field will be 0-4.
Right.
Where in the world are they going to get donors to say, I think they've lost all these states, but I promise Super Tuesday, that's where it's going to be. There's no way.
Right. By the way, I couldn't win a state that I could hang out in all the time, but I can go multiple
that I was the
states.
Governor of. Right.
Right. But so let me just, before we get to DeSantis, because I do want to get to DeSantis and Vivek real quick. If you're Nikki Haley, you're from South Carolina. You, Hogan, are from South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So let me just play this out. Let's just say she gets her butt kicked, or a decent kicking in New Hampshire. Let's call it 15, 20 points. Nevada, it really is. It's weird to me why we're having a contest there that no one cares about, but let's leave that aside.
It's Vegas, baby.
If you go into South Carolina and you're Nikki Haley, to your point, you're losing by 30 points there right now, more than you are in New Hampshire. Do you want to officially be in the race still and suffer a huge defeat?
Depends on what she wants to do in the future.
What would you want to do that would not? I mean, I just think that there's not much that you'd save. I mean, even if you wanted to be a lobbyist, you'd want to be like, hey, I still have some pull in South Carolina. Getting your butt kicked doesn't.
Even Kamala Harris got out before California in their primary. Right.
Right.
Didn't want to lose her home state either. You can't continue if you lose your home state. Ron DeSantis, of course, also down 30 to Trump in Florida. But you can't continue if you lose your home state. What's the case to make? The people that know you the best, where you were governor for 8 years.
But so wait, so let me just get back to the nut of this. As you know, if you were playing the role of her advisor, and she loses in New Hampshire by, let's just say, 15 points, do you tell her to get out before South Carolina and say, hey, what do you have to lose?
Yes, I would, depending on what she wants to do in the future. Now, I could see a world in which Nikki says, look, these are my people. I governed them for 8 years. I respect them. I'm going to let them decide. And if they decide, I get it, and I'm going to stand aside, and you're that kind of contrite, okay, maybe you say you want to lose. I would not advise her to do that. I would say if you're down by 30 points in South Carolina, you may want to decide to get out and say, listen, guys, it's time to coalesce. It's time to work together. We have to beat Biden. I've said that from the beginning. The man to do it right now, who has the trajectory, who has the votes, is Donald Trump. Now we have to put down and put aside our differences, and that's who we should support.
Yeah. Real quick, so give me your take on Ron DeSantis and what he does, because, yes, he squeaked out a second.
They threw everything but the kitchen sink at us. They spent almost $50 million attacking us. No one's faced that much all the way just through Iowa. The media was against us. They were writing our obituary months ago.
I actually, by the way, just real quick, I think that's a good thing for the Trump campaign. They want him to stay in the race going into New Hampshire, keep it a multi-candidate race, prevent it from being one-on-one. What do you tell Ron DeSantis that he says?
Well, Ron DeSantis is kind of a trickier situation because, look, when we were with Santorum and we were with Huckabee in Iowa, putting everything we had there, we knew if we didn't win or finish like top two, it was over. But no one really cared because we didn't have any money. It was us and a truck and, a few pizza ranches. That was it. Ron DeSantis spent tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to the super PAC to try and win Iowa, and he didn't. That's a big problem. And with Ron, as we've been talking about, the map doesn't really work out for him because he's not winning New Hampshire. He will not win in Nevada. He will not win in South Carolina. He will be 0-4. And I don't know what you tell a donor to say, hey, I'm going to stick in here, so keep funding me, because when Alaska and the U.S. Virgin Islands vote, I'm going to be right there. Like, I don't know what you tell them. So as far as DeSantis is concerned, look, I would never be presumptuous enough to tell someone when to get out, because I wouldn't tell them when to get in either, right? It's up to them. It's a personal decision, but he's got a tough road ahead. And I think the campaign probably knows that too.